Hello and welcome back to what is the final game of the day. We've got the men's gold medal game here at the 2023 Pelligra SA Open. My name's Nathan Wombat McLeod. It's my pleasure to bring you this last final game. I'm joined as always by my partner in crime, Maxi Gura. Max, this is going to be good. These teams have both battled it out all weekend and played some really good ball. This should be really exciting.
Yeah, the top two seeds of the tournament as well, making it all the way into the gold medal match. You know, playing out as how on paper it should be expected. But, you know, you've got the experience of Justy and Garang going up against the, the young, kind of emerging, developing volleyeroos in Jack and Josh. You know, both of those players can really jump through the roof, so it'll be a fun and entertaining game to watch.
Yeah, it is really interesting as well. Justin Schumann and Garang and Yang, currently the 1 and 2 ranked players in the country in our domestic tour, and they did a lot of work last year. They had a lot of really good results. They got a third in Australian champs at the start of the year. They've won a couple of local rounds. They are from Victoria. They've won a couple of local rounds. They got a second in the first stop of the Australian Beach Volleyball Tour in Torquay, losing to France, who are some guests at the current Under-19 World Champions, beat them in the final. Then they also played a bunch of international stuff. They played the event in Coolangatta at the start of the year. They went to Oman, they went to Torquay and played an international there, and then they went to the Philippines as well. Their opposition today in the red tops, a bit of a combination. So Jack Pearce, a really young, exciting SA athlete, and Josh Howard, originally from WA, but now calls SA home as part of the developing beach volleyeroos program here based out of Sassy. They got a fourth at that same tournament at the start of the Australian Beach Volleyball Tour in Torquay, so a really good result for them. And then they played a bunch of events as well. They played an international in Coolangatta at the start of the year, got a fifth there, so really good result for them. They played a couple of events in Dubai, they played Oman as well, and then they played 2 international events in Torquay right at the end of the year. So absolute heap of international experience on this court. Who do you reckon, Max? Who's got this one?
Look, it'll be tough. It'll tough to see. We've got, as we were saying, we've got the experience, in Justy and Garang versus, the youthful, exuberance of Jack and Josh. I think, if Justy and Garang can, just hold on and hold on through the game, and weather the storm of, Jack and Josh, then I think, Justy and Garang can get it done.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think we're seeing a bit of we're seeing a really interesting day weather-wise here. The wind is kind of switching on and off, and when it's on, it's not gentle. It's quite intense, and as soon as it stops, there's nothing. It's all or nothing. And we just saw at the end of that women's game, it was almost dead still. The whole warm-up has been dead still, and only just as the athletes have gone into their serving routines, the wind's actually picked up quite a bit. So it's going to be really interesting to see how the teams adapt by that as that wind comes and goes throughout the course of the match.
Yeah, and if you get those strong gusts and, even if it's a bit more consistent as well, potentially that plays into Justy and Garang's hands a little bit more, coming from Vic and, playing a lot in South Melbourne, it can be quite windy there. So, potentially they've got that, real game experience in it. Yeah,
look, it is really exciting for me to watch 4 quite young athletes kind of work their way out through the wind and through each other for an SA Open final. It's really exciting to see the next kind of level of athletes come through. We saw a lot of long-standing athletes enter this event, and we might say the conditions yesterday beat a couple of the older retired guys that probably would have normally been appearing on Super Sunday. We had some nightmare conditions yesterday. We had 40 degrees, we had 50 km/h winds and rain as well. So certainly took its toll on everyone.
But we have both teams now coming out to court to get this gold medal match going.
And we should also, of course, acknowledge our amazing referees that make all of this possible, and we congratulate them on their appointment for today and for this match. Our second referee, Dennis Redman, and our first referee, all the way from Glenelg, South Australia, Peter Bowie. The newest firefighter in South Australia, Max.
I know, I was gonna mention it as well.
Give him like 6 seconds and he'll tell you all about it. Josh Howard opens the account, hitting through the big arms of Garang. I reckon we're going to see a lot of them attacking that block throughout the course of this match. They're going to serve on Justy and go after the block of Garang, I think.
Yeah, both Josh and Jack, both huge jumpers and will, really back themselves in on the block. And also potentially a little bit of, Justin Schumer is one of the best defenders we have in the country and an amazing digger. So, the more you can keep it away from him, usually the better. What an angle there.
Well, I love that we've both immediately leaned in to watch this replay.
There's not much you can do about defending that.
And also, how's the serve to start it off? There's no slowly winding up. Garang straight in. Just missing that sideline.
Yeah, I had to wear a few of those serves last year. Justin Garang, had to face off against them a few times in different national tours, and more than once, Garang undid us a little bit with his serve. When he just gets onto it and gets in a rhythm, it's hard to stop.
Look, it's taken him quite a few years to work out how to use all of his limbs together, but I think he's got there, and it's pretty terrifying. (4-1) start of this first set. That one just sailing long, and I tell you what, the combination of Jack Pearce and Josh Howard, I think, would be very relieved to see that one sail past the service line. Garang completely out of position, couldn't set that one, so thought, you know what, I'll just hit it on two. 5-2 at the opening end. So there is we spoke a little bit about the breeze being a bit blustery, a bit on and off. At the moment, we've got a little bit of a breeze. It is favouring the end that Howard Pearce in the red have moved to. So they're at the good end now. Bit of work to do. Go after that block again.
Yeah, Garang this time going for a bit of a delayed block, maybe thinking that he might get a shot coming, but the hard hit comes and he's just not able to lock out or seal in time. It's a great serve there by Jack Pearce there, putting Justin Schumer under a lot of pressure. Garang doing a decent effort to get that set back and put Justin in a good position, but Justy potentially just losing his bearings a little bit. And
I was just going to say, it's so hard to hit that ball that's coming in from behind your shoulder. It's really difficult to track the ball, track where the net is, track where the defenders are, and still, put something in that's not going to be easily dug and transitioned.
There we go, turn around after dropping that side out before, changing it up, running around behind. Garang, nice little set there, and Justin getting the kill that time. As they're at 6-4.
Very smart. Jack just seeing the open court and just kind of pushing it over the top of that block. Really good set from Josh Howard, giving him that space to be able to go over the block.
Yeah, my immediate thought off the arms there was, I was like, oh, Garang's going to grab this one, but Jack Kent is very long and can jump quite high, that he was able to get that ball before Garang even had a chance.
Not a bad effort to get 3 touches on it, just not able to be controlled. 6-all. Howard and Pearce needed to go down the good end and get a bit of a run, and they've done that very well. Great serve. Josh Howard really banging that ball into the wind. making the wind do all the work for him just to kind of slow it down, bring it into court. Gotten his team a 1-point lead, 7-6.
Trying to go on two that time, maybe forcing it a little bit. Not able to get it over the net. Brings it back to 7-all. They had the chance of pulling out an 8-6 lead going back to the bad end, which would have been a huge end for him. But we're all tied up.
And if you are new to beach volleyball, we do play best of 3. The first 2 sets are a race to 21. Third set is all the way to 15 points if we need it. So in that first 2 sets, we're going to change ends every 7 points. Obviously, we deal with a bit of wind and a bit of sun in beach volleyball, so just to make sure conditions are the same for both teams. If we need the third, we'll change ends every 5 points there. Really, really nice little shot. You see Glenelg reaching up nice and high, just trying to grab the ball, but just not able to kind of get his big mitts on it.
And one thing that we haven't had in some of our previous games, you may have noticed Jack and Josh with the bands on their arms. They are in fact heart rate monitors. And luckily, I've got Boobs, strength conditioning coach for the men's senior program next to me, and he's got the iPad all hooked up. So, at different parts of the game, I might bring you where the boys' heart rates are at. Because at the moment, Josh is ticking at over 170. So he's been really working hard so far.
Either that, or he's just seen his own reflection in Glenelg's sunnies and just shot his own heart rate up. Good-looking rooster is Josh Howard. Good pass, but that wind's probably just blowing that ball onto the net a little bit too far.
Yeah, Glenelg coming back to the good end and putting some tough serves in again. Now 11-8.
And I think the combination of Schumann and Yang would be very, very happy with how this serving run is kind of working at the moment, where Justy had a couple up from the bad end to kind of really make use of his really accurate float serve. And they're just kind of letting Glenelg serve from that good end where he can just kind of unload and really be aggressive and go after it.
Yeah, it's real good team serving mentality there. You have one player who can really afford to and always specialise in really pinpointing where they're going to go. And then if you have Glenelg with his jump serves, you can let him just let it rip. And especially when you got conditions like this where you got a bit of wind, you're almost like you don't have to pick a very particular spot, just put a tough serve in, and that's what he's been doing so far.
So it is technical timeout. We are 13-8. So in the first and second set, when the score total is 21, we're going to take a compulsory timeout just to allow the teams to work out how that first half of the set's gone. And I think, it's just complete luck as to which end you get to serve from as a player, but it's really working out well for Glenelg and Justin at the moment. I think Josh Howard would be kind of looking at that thinking, I want to have a bit of a crack from that good end, because he does have a really good jump serve. We saw that a little bit earlier in the set, came up with a couple of aces.
Yeah, as we've just seen, Justin really laying out the game plan to Glenelg there. It's real good vision, being able to, we can't hear, but we can see into those timeouts, and we can really see how some of the different team dynamics work.
It's interesting, we often see teams falling in one of two very distinct categories of either communicating a lot and having some very in-depth conversations, or just not saying anything at all and just kind of sitting there staring off in the distance, knowing what they need to get done.
Either that or, thinking about what they're going to have for dinner. Potentially they'll head off to Burgernomics, get a nice, juicy burger.
You can tell you played a few years with Zach, mate.
No, if that was the case, it would be, a nice cricket burger.
Crickets, that's exactly right. A big shout out to Shoebugs that I did see was doing some renovations yesterday.
Yeah, nice big shed going up. Unfortunately, the wind that was affecting down here, went up there as well, and has set back, a little bit of the construction.
That's upsetting for Tim, who does all the work, and Zach, of course, just gets to sit back and watch.
Yeah, Tim really is the mastermind behind the whole thing. Puts all the hard work in.
You know how you can tell as well? I thought about this last year. If you see the two of them at a beach volleyball event, one of their hats, all faded black and it's kind of brown from exposure to the sun. Zach's hat, pristine black, looks like it's brand new. One person's doing more work than the other.
Serve going long there. The previous point, Rang just looking a little bit, out of system and, putting the ball out wide, Josh getting up in his face, in that block.
Wind has picked up a little bit more as well, so we are seeing a very definite good end and bad end that's been consistent so far for this game. Really, really good little side out though. 12-14. So we've got 2 points left of the good end, and Jack Pearce back to the service line. Would be really keen to make sure he puts in 2 aggressive serves here and they change ends all tied up. I think Garang is very lucky that his arm is that long, as that set from Schumann just kind of, you see it drift all the way onto the net. But Garang able to still take it really high and just push that ball over the block.
It's a great set out of the net. Jack got lucky, sat in there quite nicely, but it is such a hard thing to do, to pop that ball up like he did. And then Josh, great job, waited back, waited to see where that set came and then just unloaded on it.
We're at 15-13, so Schumann and Yang still 2-point lead. Got the good end as well.
Justy with a great line shot there, right into that, advantageous corner with the wind. It's the hardest spot to defend when you got the wind like this. If you can put it into that corner, you're going to win 9 times out of 10. And then he follows up with a great serve, tagging the baseline.
And I reckon we're about to see a timeout very soon from these guys. If they don't get this one, I think we'll see them fire that off. Very nice. Jack Pearce says, no, I do not need that. I've got this enormous arm and I see a line.
Jack does like that line hit coming in from the left side and then just snapping across.
It's a really late torso and shoulder rotation on him. He lines up like he's always going to hit that cross court, and then really at the last minute he turns. It makes it very difficult for the blocker to know exactly which angle he's going to hit.
As we see in the replay, there's a nice little crafty two-ball there from Garang, just over his back shoulder. So 18-14. As Garang has potentially found a nice shell that he wants to keep for after the game. Maybe a bit of rubbish.
Experience of playing in Melbourne, mate. And first thing you do is look where you're about to jump serve to check for rocks. Which naturally we don't have any, so it must have been a shell.
That serve into the middle of the net. And then another into the middle of the net. Let's hope that this third serve can make it over.
It has.
But there's a hit back into the net.
20-15, we're getting really close as we go around again.
Yeah, net getting a little bit of action right now. Potentially a little bit of, just energy just dropping a little bit. Just hands, the arm just dropping down a bit. We need to keep staying clear. Like, these boys can all jump very high, so there's no no real reason that anything should be going into the net.
No, that's right. And I think at the moment, just probably a little bit tiny lapses in concentration. That wind's it is really kind of blustery at the moment, and it's changing directions a bit. It is picking up and down, which just means that concentration needs to be up a bit as we see Pierce just put that ball into the net. 16-21, Justin Schumann and Garang Anyang taking that first. Justin, of course, trying to defend his SA Open crown from last year. He won it with his brother, Damien Schumann, who has let his ability drop after retiring from international volleyball and got knocked out in the quarterfinals yesterday.
If it's let his ability drop, or as a new dad, he's just being nice and letting some other kids have a turn now.
Nah, ability's got rubbish.
Now, as I said before, the boys' heart rates, they're starting to drop down now. They're taking their time. They're recovering down into like the 130s, 120s. But right at the end of that set, they were still, up there. Jack's even peaked, and jumped up, 6, 7, 8 beats per minute after he served into the net to finish off that set. So obviously not very happy with himself. But as you see, both teams, chatting a fair bit, trying to figure it, Jack and Josh trying to figure out what they can change. 21-16, like they were a little bit off, and they're going to have to, change some things up if they want to, extend this out into a third set where you got Justy and Garang, just talk about, we got to basically go out, do our thing, make sure we don't get pulled in, and trying to play outside of ourselves.
Yeah, and I think for me, the really big thing that stood out is there was really a tale of two stories there, that both teams when they're in transition, both teams when they're in system, look really, really good. As soon as they're out of system, at the moment, Schumann and Anyang look much, much, much better. That is the really big difference. It's wind. You get out of system more than you're in system.
Yeah, and that point there really showed just then how much the gust can come through. You can see here in the replay, Josh jumps up and then the wind just throws the ball behind him. He's only able to get a knuckle to it.
And then that wind just kind of stopping, where Jack tries to allow for it to let the wind bring it back a bit and just doesn't do as much as you would expect.
Yeah, you can see he's tried to, roll the ball into the wind, but he's done a little bit too much with it. It's a much better set there. And that's some great height by Josh. He's got up and knuckled that from his nose, I feel like. God damn it, he can jump higher.
Oh, good serve.
It's a great set. Garang trying to be a little bit too cute with it. Wanted to go short. Where I would have thought, if he went quick and went high with it, he would have, potentially got a kill.
Just missing. You heard the no call. Well watched all the way to the line. And I'm happy with Jack Pierce and Josh how they've come out here and looked very settled at the start of the set. It's easy to kind of, the back end of that first set got away from them quite quickly. It's easy to bring that emotion into the next set. You only have a minute between sets, so it's not long to kind of reset. But I think they've done a really good job letting that go and just coming out 3-all early in this second.
Great job.
Great defense by both teams. Just really hunting down that ball.
Just getting stuck watching that replay. That was a great job. Great layout there by Jack Pierce to keep that ball alive. And then Josh just with the knuckle, just pushing it deep. No one could touch it. Yeah, they go down to the bad end now, leading 4-3. Great start out into the second set for the young boys.
Good set with her from Schumann, just Garang not able to capitalise, just saying he wanted it a little bit higher.
Yeah, a few errors to start off this second set with Garang here.
And they've made the switch onto Garang. As Josh Howard gets him with a big block.
It's a great switch up here. You know, potentially just trying to go for something new, you know. They went after Justin. You know, maybe now coming in, all right, well, we lost the first set, try something new, but it's working out perfectly for him so far.
Oh, gets him again. It's 2 big blocks in a row. 7-3. Josh and Jack have gone up the bad end and they're making it work for them.
It's a great jump line.
And Garang just brings that ball into the net.
Yeah, those 2 blocks before, that really should probably be its own, you know, blocking stat. You know, as a blocker and just wanting more stats and everything. You know, those 2 blocks have really forced Garang to try and find some sort of angle to really get away from Josh there, and all he found was the net. Their touch. Josh just getting a little bit too greedy, trying to get in and
what's that Josh
over.
Howard heart rate at the moment? After those couple of blocks, I reckon it would have jumped up.
He's at 181, so he's peaking at the moment. So he's at 90% of his max heart rate, you know, in the 180s.
If he got a 3rd block in a row, his heart might have exploded, Max. I think that's how that biology works. 4-9, they've sided out very well and ball back in hand, and I imagine this would be straight back on Garang. Smart play there. Nice pass. And that's one thing. Garang has looked absolutely rock solid in his reception. And Justy puts him up a lot of height. And Garang just thinking, oh, I'm just going to take a bit off and just play this into the space. Just kind of restore a little bit of my confidence. So it's 9-5 as we change ends. So Howard Pierce with a 4-point lead, and they're going to the good end. So they really want to be capitalising here and just extending that as much as they can. Yeah, very nice. Very free-flowing swing there. So Jack obviously feeling good, feeling comfortable. Take that ball high and just bang it real hard.
Yeah, potentially, you know, with how they're looking at the moment, maybe just took the first set just to really warm up and get comfortable, because they're looking great at the moment. Josh with a nice little ace there.
Just coming off the arm of the blocker onto the antenna. The ball does connect to that antenna or any part of the net outside of that antenna. It is out of play straight away. Very nice, very smart high line there. And Max, they're looking really in control so far.
It's a real big difference. Like, you know, potentially a little bit lucky. There's no real wind at the moment, but at the moment I don't think it would really change too much, because they've really found their groove and they're on a rhythm. You know, you can see even with the serve out there, you know, Josh is looking very comfortable and looking very relaxed.
Very smart again, still high, still very comfortable attacking that block. they've obviously had a bit of a game plan to go after that block, because right from that first point, that's exactly the zone they've been attacking. So 13-7, we're only 1 point away from this technical timeout in the second.
It's a great turn there by Garang. Keep that ball alive.
14-7, so they're going to go to this technical timeout with the game well and truly in their possession.
Yeah, much different set, coming out for Josh and Jack here.
What do you think that difference has been, Maxie?
I think really it's like they're just more comfortable. Maybe it was getting caught up in the the final. They're at the final SA Open. It's right there for them to win, and knowing that they're coming up against a very good and very experienced team as well. So potentially the moment got a bit big for them at the start. But once they've lost that first set, then there's nothing for them to lose anymore. Like they've just simply got to release from all that and got to come out hard and come out firing, and they have.
And I think probably a lot of teams naturally, given the height and the reach difference, really focus on going after Justin Schumann. And normally that's, just as great an attacker as Justin is, he just can't simply take it from the same height and generate the same power that someone like Garang and Yang can. But what we saw early in this second set is just a little bit of that uncertainty drift into Garang's mindset, and it's probably a little bit harder for the team to think, well, what do I do from here? And I think that's exactly what they're going to have to do. Garang's going to have to just keep attacking and trust the systems and process that they've got, knowing that more often than not, things go his way.
Yeah, sometimes, watching a few games and playing against them as well, it's not always comfortable with the blocker getting a lot of touches and, being just off. If block gets a few, big ones on him, then, it's not always good for him. Like where Garang loves, if he can get a clean hit and it really bounces off the sand like it can, he draws a lot of energy from that. Where, these boys aren't really too worried about hitting into Garang's block. It's their game plan.
No, you're right, and I think that's probably one thing that would potentially help get Garang back into this. If he can have that swing on an open net, I mean, that'll help. But if he can have that overpass, or if he can have that set where, they might have a bit of a brain lapse and pull off the net when they shouldn't have, that's going to be all it takes to kind of reset that confidence.
Or a huge ace right here. Great block, touch and turn. Keep that alive there by Garang. And Justin just too much and going too long. They're trying to find the back of the court. Little opportunity missed there.
Oh, Josh Howard crushes the angle. Very, very nice. We'll see on that replay, just really opens up his body and allows himself to swing into that really sharp cross-court. Great set from Jack Pearce. Yeah, and I think if I was in Garang and Justin's shoes at the moment, what I'd be really focusing on, you're down 17-10. The chance of you winning this set are probably quite low, but what you can look at doing is just stealing some momentum back into that third set. I think that's what they would want to be focusing on from here.
Before, on that big highlight play from Josh as well, I think he went into just a very quick like cardiac arrest, because his heart rate just completely disappeared for a second then, but quickly came back up touching 190. So he was working hard. You could see him going back to serve. Just a big breath, trying to slow that down, trying to compose himself. $18-11.
So Howard Pierce, well and truly this set in control. At this point, it just becomes a side-out game for them. Pressure's off. They just have to get a couple of good side-outs, and this set's theirs.
And just making sure they don't want too many of those points creeping in. They don't want to, have a few errors or let Garang or Justy get back any sort of momentum that they had from the first set. They want to make sure that they're getting this done in as few points as possible.
That set got pretty low, Max.
It did.
They're going to take a timeout.
I think Jack was just making sure that, I think Jack maybe agreed, well, that wasn't the best set either, so I'll just make sure that these got, Garang and Justy, win the point as they potentially should have.
So I think, they've still got a 5-point lead. We're not at panic stations yet, but you're exactly right. I think what they would be wanting to talk about is, let's not let Garang and Justin come back into this set. Let's close it out on our terms, and let's go into this third set with a bit of momentum. The last thing you want is to kind of limp over that line and allow Anyang and Schumann all of this momentum back into what's going to be a third and deciding set. And especially when you're down the good end of the beach as well. You'd want to get this done. You'd want to get a side out and then control it from the service line from there. Very nice. Good high line. Good in control. And you know what? I'm happy for Josh to kind of go after it with his serve here. They've got a 6-point lead. They're up the good end. Have a crack. See if you can get a couple of cheap points.
Couldn't get it. Went long, but gave it a rip. Just mishit it just a little bit there with Justy now back to serve. Agree with Jack there as well. Just so big, Josh. Just he might not be the tallest down the court, but he can jump up and outreach most people.
It's not fair, Max. Great little behind ball play there. Just changing the angles up a bit, trying something different.
Someday they'll probably end up, doing a study into Josh and his calves, and they'll find some springs in there.
Are you accusing the kid of surgically implanted springs in his calves?
Yeah, have you seen how big his calves
No,
are?
hey, fair. I was just clarifying. Don't disagree. Nanobots, man. 21-15. We are done. We're going all the way to a third, and that's a pretty fitting way to end our tournament, going all the way to three, which is exactly what we want. It's been a long 3 days. We might as well go the full distance one more time.
Garang not very happy with himself finishing off that set either with that serve. The last few serves seen him going for it down at the preferred end. He's not looking like he's going for it as much as he did in the first set. Looking like he's taken a little bit off, trying to make them play. But that's not their best game plan. Their best game style. It's let Justy play the spots. Play him short, play him deep, and Garang from the wind in your face end, let rip and really just go for it and try and just dismantle them with the power in the serve.
Yeah, that's right. And we saw it in the first set, a lot of really positive communication, body language from Justin and Garang. And at this point, we're seeing a lot more emotional communication about what they need to do. And that's a good thing. They don't look heads down. But compare that to what we don't see on the camera is the other end of Josh Howard and Jack Pierce. And they were all smiles and laughs and ready to go. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see how Schumann and Anyang respond at the start of this first end. They're going to the good end. Let's see what they can actually do, because they're going to really want to come out firing here.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see in this first end just the body language of the two teams. You know, who's more comfortable in the moment.
Who you got your money on, Maxi?
Well, at the moment, I'm thinking I have to switch from my prediction at the start, just with looking, you know, just how comfortable Josh and Jack are looking right now. Just not getting that same sort of energy from Garang and Justin's side.
No,
unfortunately.
But it probably only takes one or two big plays, and they're probably going to be right back in it.
A smart play there by Garang. You know, just going off the outstretched hand of Josh. Like Josh really trying to reach it over to that line, not penetrating a huge amount. Garang using it nicely.
And you just see, we'll see this in the replay, but because Josh Howard is jumping so high, watch Garang's block. It almost has to reach back onto his own side just to try and reach up and get that ball.
Yeah, if Garang goes and watches his back, he will be kicking himself on that. Great swing there, though.
And we've seen a definite change in the areas Garang's attacking. We've seen all four of his attacks so far this set attack that high in the block, and three of them be off pace as well. So really trying to play with the timing of Josh Howard's block and trying to get him on the way down and just play off that block for a nice, easy, cheap point. Very, very nice little over-the-top shot from Jack Pierce. So they're going to take 3-2 up the bad end to start the set.
Very tough hit as well. The wind's pushing the ball that way as well. So inch perfect. Now he's back to serve as well.
Not a horrible set from Garang, but again, really difficult coming over your shoulder, wind behind you. Not the easiest shot in the world to play. 4-2. Good serve from Jack Pierce. So that's on me, that's my bad.
Yeah, couldn't follow it up that time. You know, trying to take a bit off, you know, make Justy play, and you know, just didn't have that same aggression. You know, potentially bringing, you know, that's what brought the net into play there. Josh just looks so comfortable right now, playing that ball down the line, going after Garang's block.
And we can see from the height he took that, he didn't really have to play up and over. He could play flat over that block, and that makes it really difficult for Justin to actually chase it down as Garang just shanks the ball out the back. 5-3.
It's a great serve as well. Watching the replay again, that was right on the baseline. It's the response that Garang and Justy needed, though. We get that side out, nice pass, good set, and then Justin's getting a nice clean hit in the cross court.
6-4 though. They take that, Jack Pierce and Josh Howard take that second end, the same style as they took the first. All they need to do is keep winning the ends. Ooh. Justin making good position, but just can't control it. Josh Howard gets the block. Garang makes the cover deep, but can't control it. And we're at 8-4. So very quickly a 4-point lead.
And also in the backcourt there, Jack was hunting for that line as well. So both of them really make it. There we go.
Oh, gets another one.
great play there. You know, Jack making sure that he's going and making anything going down the line he's got. Letting Josh just really jump into that cross court, knowing that Glenelg was going to go back there. And then Jack just letting him off the hook. You know, that you force the side switch. You know, Glenelg jumped over to the right side and then, yep, putting it into the middle of the net.
Just clipping Glenelg's hand on the way through. So it's 10-5. Tell you what, that's a pretty good set from Justin Schumann.
And a great swing there by Glenelg as well. Like, coming from over his left shoulder behind him as well, to then unloading that. Very difficult thing to do.
Is that enough to get them back in it?
Ball
Stop
on the
as the
court.
ball dribbles over from the game behind. Our Div 2 women's gold medal game underway on the court behind. Just oh, I wasn't watching. Max, did you watch that? Did we have an angle?
I think the ball, well, the camera tracked the ball too much, but you know, there was definitely nothing on the bottom tape. So if there was any sort of, as we see another replay.
Really hard to tell from there.
I don't see anything.
But both the linesman and the second ref were very quick to agree.
They do have the you know, the better positions and everything to see that, but yeah, tough to see on camera.
So it's 11-6. I think we're lucky we don't have a heart rate monitor on Glenelg here.
Let's go!
Yeah, because funnily enough, the two young boys they're at the lowest they've been the whole game.
Well, that's promising for them, not letting the moment get in the way. 12-7, 3 points away from what is a maiden SA Open title for both of these players. Great touch from Justin Schumann, but can't control it. 13-7 as we change ends again. It's always a bit special to win your own state open as well. So Jack Pearce is seeing that well within his sights. Good play by Glenelg, seeing Jack just make a move and just playing it into that open court.
Don't mind it though. You know, Glenelg has gone back to the line so many times in this third set, so you know, it's worth the punt.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think Jack just got ahead of himself a little bit there. You know, going for the. I think initially he wanted to jump set that.
Correct,
to
and
Josh.
It just drifted a bit and he lost track of what to do with it a bit.
He didn't lose track of that one though.
He did not. Melted it. And we now have 5 match points, 5 gold medal points, 5 championship points, Maxi.
Spin to win.
Oh, you have to go after it. Boom. Good serve though. Whoa, one saved. Garang taking absolutely no prisoners either.
Garang's found himself in the last, 4 or 5 side outs. Unfortunately, it's looking like it is a little bit too late though.
Oh, and with that, we have our 2023 Pelligra SA Open champions, Josh Howard and Jack Pearce, getting the job done 15-10 in the third. Justin Schumann and Garang Enyang. Fantastic tournament. Unfortunately, they have to settle for silver at this event. Justin's not able to back up his championship from last year. But Maxi, great result for the young combination in the red.
Yeah, start off the year, big win for them as well. They've got no doubt that they've got a big calendar lined up for this year. Going overseas and everything, and so it's always nice to start off the year with a win. For Jack as well, get that hometown, state open. SA Open is the longest running beach volleyball event, so to get that under his belt, it's a big thing. And then it's just a massive confidence builder, and we'll see where these boys can go in the remainder of the national tour.
Absolutely. And look, from us here at Glenelg, we'd like to have a big thank you to all of our supporters, all of our sponsors, Pelligra and City of Holdfast Bay and Jetty Road Traders, especially for allowing us to come down and put this amazing event on. And from Nathan Wombat McLeod and Max Gura, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you back here next year. This has been the 2023 Pelligra South Australian Open.